Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kechelle, and today we're going to be talking about another failed vlog. Okay, so I wanted to read through the seasons, okay? Just stick with me. I was a teacher, and I was a teacher for about 5 years, on and off. Testing season is a whole nother season, all in itself, all right? It is stressful, it's time consuming, it's a lot of things, right? All year, you're prepping yourself and your students for testing, and when it gets there, it is just a whole different vibe in the whole school. The whole schedule changes. The students are expected to perform. They always are. Let's be real. They always are. But it's just different. So I pulled, if y'all don't know, this is my little box right here with all the 25 titles of books that I want to read in 2025. And in the last video I did with my TBR, I pulled out the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a perfect time. The 5th season by N.K. Jemisin to me was kind of synonymous to the 5th season of school, which is testing season. So I was just gonna do like a play on words type of thing in the vlog, and it did not happen. If we are going by an academic calendar, it starts in the fall, even though we return to school in the summer, because fall doesn't actually start until September 20th or September 21st, something like that. But we call it the fall season. So that's where I want to start my vlog. I started my vlog with this book called Into the Fall. I couldn't give y'all a rundown of the plot, but I'ma let Bree from back when she was actually reading this, I'm gonna let her describe it to you. Hey y'all. Okay, so I had the bright idea to read 5 books about the seasons of the year. And you may be thinking, Brianna, there are only 4 seasons. I know, I got you. So this might be a dumb idea, and hopefully intro me has already explained what's going on. I wanted to start with fall because I'm a teacher, and I have either been a teacher or my life has revolved around school in some way all of my life. So to me, the year starts in the fall, even though for everybody else, it starts in the winter, whatever. So I'm going to start with the fall as season number 1. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and put that on audiobook. It is free right now on Kindle Unlimited if you want to read along with me and do a little buddy read situation. And yeah, be sure to like, share, and subscribe if I haven't said it already. I'm about to start my book.
Little, and his shoulders flattened on a long exhale.
Okay, so it keeps going.
I have a sister.
Pause. Anyway, I'll just have to rewind or something. So we are on our way to the library. Honey does not like the car. Yeah, she doesn't like the car. So I'm trying to get her acclimated to the car so that if it's an emergency or anything for any reason, I don't want to have to be like throwing her in the car or fighting with her to get in the car. And I want her to enjoy the car because we like to go on road trips around here. And she can't always stay with somebody. She might have to come with us. So that's what we're doing now. I have Into the Fall on the radio, as you guys heard. Oh, right now I'm about 20% of the way in. So I guess I can tell you what's going on. So 20% of the way in, her husband, Matthew, has gone missing. She wakes up at the campsite. The main character, she is a married woman of 2 children, an 8-year-old girl, I think, and a 4-year-old boy, around those ages. The little girl is a little snarky to be 8 years old. I don't know too many 8-year-old girls who just already didn't like their mama at 8. I was in love with my mama at 8 years old. What's going on? So the little girl is a little snarky. The little boy is a proclaimed mama's boy, because that's what the husband, Matthew, called him. And yeah, so they wake up one morning and the wife goes out just to, look around, stretch her legs before the kids get up, and she notices that the canoe is missing. So she is trying to figure out if he went swimming. If Matthew went canoeing because he's an outdoorsy type of guy, or if he went swimming. She doesn't know, but at this time she's just kind of like, oh, he's out there somewhere. This is so unsafe. I'm gonna wait until we park at the library, and then I'll tell you guys more about the story. Okay. Okay, while we're parked here, let me go ahead and show you what I got. So I got one Summer in Savannah from my local library. Well, it's not local anymore, but it used to be local, and now I have to drive like an hour to get here. So this is by Tara Shelton Harris. I didn't know this book was this thin, and I didn't know this book was this thick. I kind of had a feeling because it's like 400 some pages, but I didn't know this book was this thin. This is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. The last one I got is Always a Sibling, the Forgotten Mourner's Guide to Grief. Sounded good. I didn't even read what it was about, but the title grabbed me. It says a practical, compassionate guide to sibling loss with research stories and strategies for forgotten mourners. Yeah, looking forward to reading this just in my own time, and I guess as one of my non-fictions for the year, because one of my goals is to read at least 12. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me. I'm just letting Honey take a break real quick since, like I said, she doesn't really like the car. Look at her. She loves being outside. She absolutely loves being outside. She's too cute. I cannot take it. And we did like, I think, a mile walk. Gave her some water. She's just chilling right now. So, okay, the book. Basically, they don't know where he is. So she has to report him missing to the, it's not the Coast Guard, but like the park people, you know? So she reports him missing. They come out and just are asking her a lot of questions. And she's making herself seem a little suspicious because she doesn't know the answers to questions like, well, when did he go to sleep? When was the last time you saw him? How long has he been missing? Do you know what he was wearing? Did he have a wetsuit? They're asking her a lot of questions, and she's like, I don't know. Why does it matter? He's not here now. Go find him. And now, here is my theory. I'm thinking that they're going to try to make it seem like either he was doing something shady in his past, and he's trying to leave her, or he was just like shady. You know what I mean? He could have been a shady businessman. He could have been broke. You know, either that, or they're going to make it seem like she is absolutely psychotic, and it's her fault that he's gone, and that's that. They're also alluding to something else that could be lurking in the woods or in this area. It's what this area is kind of known for. So they're hinting at that, and it's reminding me a little bit of Clawheart Mountain, which if it went in that direction, I would love it. I would absolutely love it, but it doesn't seem like it is. I would much rather him have been like, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. But I wish it would go in the, but you know what? It's reminding me of, I think it's called The Search Party. It's reminding me of The Search Party. I gave it 3 stars. I rated it about this time last year. I think I'm gonna have to put it on the screen because I don't really know if that's the title or not. But it was a little bit similar, where 2 families went camping. It was either 2 or 3 families went camping. Somebody ended up dead, but you didn't know who, and it was pretty good. Actually, I would suggest that as a read, you know? Okay, so now we're at the point of the book where the detectives have decided that they know everything, and they are only going to look into certain aspects of Matthew's life. I'm like 60% of the way through the book right now, and it's just reminding me of a true crime story that I know I have heard of before, and I can't tell y'all like what is giving, because then it'll spoil it. Not that I think y'all will read into the fall, but you might, because it's on Kindle Unlimited and it's free. So, and the audio is free, so you might as well. That's all I'm saying. Like, you might as well. And if you play it on 1.7, I think the whole audiobook is like 4.5 hours. So at this point, I have my suspicions. I will say this though, it's intriguing enough to have it playing in the background while I'm driving. I've been driving for about 2.5 hours, so it's keeping my interest as I'm driving, and I'm trying to put clues together. And as they're like uncovering things about Sarah, the wife, they're uncovering things about Sarah's background and Matthew's background, also giving a little room for Sarah and her sister Izzy's sistership. That has been amazing to see, like what Izzy thought of Matthew and just that sister dynamic. I love a good sister dynamic that's not that traumatic, because I have read a few books with sister dynamics, but they've been so traumatic. Like Karen Slaughter loves a good sister dynamic. She loves a good traumatic sisters watch their parents get killed, or one sister got killed, or Karen Slaughter be doing too much with the sister dynamics. Like she does a lot. This, however, is giving us a good sister dynamic. If you have not read Clawheart Mountain, I would suggest that you do, because there's something lurking in the woods, baby, and you know. But anyway, you ready to go in the house? You ready to go home? Yeah, let's go home. Let's get our library books and go in the house. Okay, so since I can't remember if I gave y'all a final synopsis or my final rating, this is my review and rating. I gave it 3 stars because it was kind of boring and redundant after a while. And what happens in the end, I can't tell y'all that. What's wrong with me? After fall, of course, we have the winter. So this book was called Winter World by A.G. Riddle. Of course, it's a series and I didn't even know that. So now I have to figure out if I want to continue the series or not. But in the near future, a new ice age has begun and humanity stands on the brink of extinction. So we follow a scientist named Emma and an inventor named James, who are both on a NASA mission to uncover the truth. So the way it happens is that Emma is, like I said, a scientist, and she's already out in space doing something, because the world has started to freeze, because somehow Earth is losing access to the sun. The best way I can describe it. And we're sending scientists from all countries, all shapes and sizes, to like go up there and figure out what is happening, how we can stop it and reverse it, possibly, because it's getting cold. Like, people are literally losing their lives. They have to create certain areas as dead zones. They have to create shelters for people, and it is chaotic trying to figure out who goes to these shelters in the habitable zones with more sun, like around the equator, and who does not get to go. And it's chaotic. I'm gonna let my past self explain some more into, because there were some good moments, right? There was I'll let her explain it. Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all a rundown of what's going on this book real quick while I try to paint before my class gets here. So I need my phone. Okay, so I am at the part, I think I'm about quarter of the way through, and it's becoming something that I didn't think it was going to be. It's kind of giving me the feel of the movie Armageddon, just a little bit. I thought this was going to be like a slice of life type of book where we were going to be following people on Earth as it froze over. That's not what we're doing. We're following an astronaut, and is he a physicist? I've been listening to this book for hours, and I still can't tell you what this man does. He invents things. Yes, I know. He has a master's and a PhD, but I can't remember what he really does. But anyway, so at this point in the book, he has now gone to meet the team that he's going to be flying off into space with. And he sees a familiar face, which that was a nice little twist right there. And there's some tension between him and this person that he knows because of their history. And that's making for a fun book. This is giving me John Scalzi vibes, which I really enjoy John Scalzi's work. And there was a portion of this book, I believe it's like chapter 16, where they were explaining one of the people in the group. He's the director at NASA. He is basically explaining to them, or to us, the reader, and some of the people in this group, because some people in the group are like, there's a Army veteran there. He's not a veteran. I think he's still active. However, he's been in the military for 20 years. There was another girl there. I'm not sure. Oh, she was a computer science major. She was a computer science person. She didn't have a master's degree, but she had developed some software that the main character, James, is familiar with. So there are other people who are doctors and physicists and astrophysicists, and it's just a conglomerate of people, different ages, different backgrounds. Literally, there's like Russians, Japanese, Chinese, obviously American, because that's where we are in the story. But anyway, so the director of NASA was explaining the gravitational pull between the sun, the earth, the moon, and the other planets, and how they were expecting to get from where they were to this unknown object that they're seeing in space. And I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention in science or if that was a really good explanation, because I felt like I understood all the years of science and learned about the planets in, I don't know, like 5 minutes. So I enjoyed that segment, and I enjoy pieces like that because some of the words obviously were specific, like some vocabulary was specific to science. So there were, you know, some larger words in there, but the explanation of it was broken down so well. I've never read from this author before, but I can see myself finishing the trilogy because I am enjoying this book. I'm enjoying James' perspective more than Emma's right now, a quarter of the way in, because Emma's is very stationary, and although it's a lot going on, there's not much action, and she doesn't have that much contact with a lot of different people because obviously she's stuck in space. So her chapters are also a little shorter at this point, so we'll see how it goes. Right now, like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's giving me John Scalzi vibes. It's making me excited to read When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi, especially like that portion I was talking about with the gravitational pull on the earth, the planets, the sun, the moon, all of that. If the moon were to turn into a block of cheese, a sphere of cheese, is it going to change its gravitational pull on earth? Is that what John Scalzi is saying? I don't know, but I know that book does follow people on earth while they're like dealing with that change. So I don't know. Like I said, it's giving me Armageddon vibes. It's giving me John Scalzi is anyway. It's good. I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to finish my painting and then set up for my class. I'm going to be here all day. So hopefully I can listen to this book a little bit more, and I will talk to you guys when I'm going to try to talk to you guys when I get to 50%. Okay, so I've been painting this, obviously, and I kind of messed it up a little bit because I was trying to eyeball it. Now that I have it on the projector, it looks a little different. But however, we're gonna make it work. So I need to make sure that like their bodies are between. You see how like the tree that I painted is not lining up with their tree? But that's okay. So I'm going to line it up so that their bodies are right in between this fence, and then I'm gonna draw them on, and I'm gonna paint them on, but I gotta hurry up. What's crazy is like not too long ago, I wanted to do a bullet journal where I was gonna do lamps, so I've been drawing lamps. Not recently, this was a while ago, but you know, recently enough that I'm like, okay, I can do this. Before the highlights, and before I add anything like under here, I still have to add some details to it, but I'll show y'all what it looks like when I get done with the details. Okay, I'm 60% of the way through the Winter World, I think is what it's called, and we finally got somewhere. So at the end of chapter 38, it finally gave me something that was like, oh, wait, what? So I think the last time I checked in with y'all, I was at like 20 or 15%, and there's not much going on. Like it is very low plot. Okay, so Emma has already been out in space for a certain number of months, and now she's out there longer, so she's trying to make sure that she can survive, because when you're out in space, your bone density depletes because of the lack of gravity. And it's so interesting because when I was in DC, we went to the Air and Space Museum, and one of my students was talking about this, and she was like, women do better out in space just by a little bit because they have better bone density, and they have a better chance of keeping their bone density than men. So some of them get back and they have to have like their spines redone or something, she was saying, or they just have to have more intensive physical therapy because they get back and they have to get reaccustomed to gravity, because in space there is no gravity. Anyway, back to the plot. There is not much plot. There is not much plot. You just have to be like on the ride for scientific knowledge. That's basically all it is. But I'll check back with y'all when I can. What's up, y'all? Okay, so I am I am cute. That's what I am. I'm gonna roll these windows up real quick. It's hot and my air decided it wants to stop working for the last 3 days. So this is going to be a quick clip. I am about 80% of the way through Winter World, and yeah, I was going to update y'all at 50% like I said, but there wasn't much going on. So there's very, very low plot. So it started off like back to back. There were a lot of events happening in the first maybe 20% of the book. There was some action, what was going on with James and his situation in the prison, what was going on with Emma, her situation on the ISS, the bus, I mean the the actual ship. And now since we found out more and more things, it was just about discovery. You know, it's been about, number one, what is causing the world to freeze, and can they stop it? And they have made some discoveries that were pretty scary in the grand scheme of things. If we ever found this out in real time in our world, I'd be terrified. They are living in this new world, and this is the part that I wanted to soak up the most. This is where I wanted the book to stay, but we don't stay there. So we're looking at life back on Earth after a lot of it has frozen. I think like 90% of the world is frozen, and they're in these habitable zones, but it's almost like a prison. They said they are living in close quarters, rationed foods, curfews, because I mean, you know, for safety, they can't be out past a certain amount of time. So this is the part of the book that I was so interested in. Now, I would recommend this book if you, number one, are into science-y things, you're into low plot books that don't have very, very high stakes. This is the type of book for you. Okay, the way it's going is probably gonna be like a 3.5 because it is really slow. I like it, but and I can already tell it's gonna end on a cliffhanger because I only have like 10 chapters left, and they are starting something else that I know will not be completed in 10 chapters. So, and I don't know if I'm gonna want to continue the series if all the books are this slow. I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's where I am with Winter World. Okay, so all in all, I gave this book a 3.75 stars. I'm trying to figure out if I should continue the series because it did leave off on a personal cliffhanger between Emma and James, and it also left off on a cliffhanger with the state of the world. So am I intrigued enough to pick up the next book? I am a little bit, and the next book is going to determine, I guess, if I keep going. So there were times where they were talking a lot of scientific jargon, and then there were times when it was just plain old good everyday plot. And I love a science fiction like that where it can balance the two. So I did enjoy that part of it. I think what I didn't enjoy was like I said, like some things were just drawn out, and it took so long to explain that I didn't even care when the explanation happened. I'm like, okay. Of course, there were some things that were just absolutely unbelievable, but is it sci-fi if there are some things that are not believable? You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a good moment, okay? So 3.75. I think I did 4 stars on Goodreads, but on Storygraph, I could enter my specific 3.75. So there's that. Okay, so after Winter World, I was looking for something a little quicker to read. I finally decided on a book titled Spring Rain by Danielle Hughes. The Danielles are out here serving because Danielle Brooks be serving too, honey. So it's a romance about two people. April has a florist shop, and Caleb's family owns, like, they farm the flowers, beautiful flowers for bouquets and arrangements and things like that. So they're in the same field, they just do two different things. They meet at a market, like a summer market, where both of them are there basically every Saturday, talking about their businesses, getting customers, selling their goods and products and things like that. They start talking and getting together and all the cute little feels. So it was a cute romance. It was very, very short. And that's basically all I can tell you guys, because this was only 73 pages, and that's really all you need to know. It's really like a 3.5. It was cute. Nothing I really loved about it, but it was cute and get the job done. So if you want a quick, cute little read, you can read Spring Rain by Danielle Hughes. Sorry. So after that, I, of course, read a summer book, because after spring comes summer. So I then read a book set in the summer called One Summer in Savannah. Okay, so this book was the only book I could read physically, and I had no other way to read it at all. I had no audiobook. I didn't have no electronic. So it took a while for me to read this book, and this book is the reason why this vlog fails, okay? So I'm not gonna put that all in the book, but I do want to say that this book took so long to read that this is kind of why the vlog failed, because it's testing season. I don't have much to do, and the last thing I wanted to do was like keep reading this book. Sarah is the main character, and she used to live in Savannah, Georgia, but 8 years ago there was a traumatic event that happened. She was forced to do some things that resulted in her having a child, if y'all know what I'm saying. Before she had the child, right, before she left, she had to go through the criminal and she had to go through the legal processes of her accused, which eventually led him to go to prison. He also had a twin brother. It was Daniel and I don't know, I forget their two names now, but one of the twin that did not do that to Sarah changed his name to Jacob. That's why I can't remember what their original names were. So after that event happened, Sarah was kind of scared of the Rylers, which is their last name of her accused, and they are old money rich, old money wealthy, and she basically has to have a lot of courage to do what she did. And when he had to go to prison, she was basically kind of scared for herself and her daughter, so she moved up to Maine. And it's been about 8 years, and she's been living up there because the child laws in Maine are different, and she was scared that the Rylers, if they found out about her daughter Elena, they would try to take her from her, so she moved. But it's been 8 years, and her father's health is failing, so she returns back down to Savannah, Georgia, to take care of her father and her bookstore. Ironically, this is another book about books, so I'm just going to let past me take it over. This is what I'm reading while we're testing, and it's interesting so far. Obviously it's not a thriller, or it's not gripping yet, but it is interesting. I'm going to give you guys an update a little bit later when I have my wits about me and when I'm not running late to work. Okay. About this book. It is about 2.5 weeks since I started reading this book, and let me just tell y'all, it has been a struggle. Okay, it's been a struggle because books that are over 400 pages, any book that's over 400 pages, it's going to be a struggle for me to read it. It is going to be a struggle. It's like I'm fighting for my life. So the last, I don't know, 50, 75 pages, my eyes were on the page, but I was thinking about something else. This book is following Sarah as she is grappling with the fact that her father is very sick. Her daughter is a genius, and she's trying to keep her daughter from the people, her family, from her daughter's family, but this family hurts Sarah so badly that she does not want her daughter Alana to be in contact with them at all. It just so happens that Jacob ends up meeting Sarah's dad, and Sarah has a quirky dad. He's very eccentric. He talks literally in poetry. So instead of just saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" he will recite 2 to 4 lines of poetry as a greeting. So that was interesting to read, and I did like that dynamic. It'll just be lines and lines of poetry that he has off memory like this. It says, "Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait." So, his name is Hosea. But yeah, that was just him trying to make a decision, and Hosea had told him that poem. Everybody has a greeting in Hosea's mind. Sarah's dad, he has a greeting for everybody. Of course, it is poetry. And Sarah is just trying to wrap her head around the fact that she has to speak to her dad in this way, and she can't get simple things from him like, "I love you, I miss you, yes, you should do that, no, you shouldn't do that." She has to come to terms with actually communicating like this with him, and she's been doing this since she was a child, but now that she's older, she's saying, "I wish I would just hear the words from him." Daniel is also struggling in prison with his own things, and Jacob is trying to mend their relationship because since the assault has happened, they had a big rift in the family. You had some family members that believed that Daniel did do it. You have some family members that believed he did not do it, like Daniel and Jacob's mom, Birdie. Birdie was his strongest supporter, and she really did not believe that he did it. That was her baby, you know what I mean? So I've been reading this book all through testing season. Summer is my absolute favorite season in the year, and I love the summertime. I've been in school or school adjacent all of my life, so summertime is a whole lot more lax for me as a child and as a professional. So that's why I love it. And you travel more in the summer. Everything feels better. You know, you don't have to worry about all of these extra. It's just, I love the summertime. But this book can't say the same. I think I would probably give this like a solid 3. It just needs to be 100 pages less. It needs to be 50, 75, 100 pages less. There were some things that just could have been taken out. And while you're reading it, it is like a slow burn of forgiveness, healing, and I guess since that literally in real time takes a long time, that's what the author wanted to convey. This is not something that happens overnight, and even at the end of the book, I'm not sure that they're just going to be in a happily ever after. I think that this book explains very well what can happen when you actually open your mind, your heart up to the possibilities of forgiving someone truly deep down in your heart and coming to terms with grief. This book has a lot of trauma in it, and the grief that was explored in this book, it can be healing, or it can also open some old wounds if you are a person who has had to deal with that. So overall, I think I'm just going to give it a solid 3. There's not anything wrong with it except the length. I did like, there was some banter between Sarah and Jacob a little bit. There was some hesitation. There are also some classic romance moments there as well. The fact that Elena is a genius is hilarious. And yeah, it also like humanizes Daniel after what he did, and I appreciated that because he is still a person, even though he committed a very heinous crime and changed the trajectory of his life and other people's life. He was young, he did something dumb, he's still a human, even though that was a very, very horrible decision. So yeah, I don't think I would recommend this very broadly, but I'm glad to have read it. And that completes our season's vlog. I have read through the season. I was supposed to read the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. And let me just say, I started it and I DNF'ed it very quickly. So I'm upset because I did not read the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, which is the one reason I wanted to do this vlog. I picked the book up and the premise sounds amazing, right? Like this man's wife is, somebody is killed and then their daughter goes missing. So now she has to like go on a hunt and figure out what happened. And it is a fantasy dystopian type of book. The premise of it sounded so good, but y'all, I opened that book and I was like, why am I already confused? Now, either I wasn't paying attention that well or I wasn't in the mood. I don't know what it was, but I was like, I'm not feeling this. And I've seen so many good reviews about the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin that I feel like I'm the odd man out. What am I missing? Can y'all tell me down below what I'm missing? What's going on? Should I pick it back up? Should I try it again? I don't know, but obviously Honey is sick of me ignoring her. She has now resorted to being right in front of the camera. Even though it was the whole reason for the vlog, I wasn't feeling it. I just DNF'd it, and that was it. Okay, so that is it for this vlog, y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed this style. Like I said, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I'm really bad at like picking up the camera while I'm thinking of the book or while I'm reading the book. So hopefully, like, me inserting my feelings throughout is not distracting. If it is, I'll try to do better next. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my vlog. If you would like to see some other vlogs like this, like where I read through the seasons, or if you want some suggestions about what I would read if I just only read books about the summer, or if I only read books for the fall, I could do that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, yeah, I've been forgetting to say this. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. It's free to you, and I would really appreciate it.